Hi guys, welcome back to part 6 of DW build, Fokker Triplane. I've got, on this part I'm going to be doing aligning the wings, putting on the joiners. In fact, the airplane's hanging up here as you can see, ready to start. Whatever else I've got to do, I'll just be pressing on. But she's coming on. Oh, I'm also going to offer in the end struts as well, wing struts that hold things together. So she's going to be taking shape. So thanks for looking in and let's get on with the video. Cheers. What I'm doing now, guys, is I've put in the joiners, screwed them up tight into the fuselage. These are the ones that take the pins, and I'm just epoxying them into the fuselage. They just stop the wings from sliding off of the tube, so they're not load bearing. I think they just prevent the wings from sliding off. And yeah, just finishing it up now. The other thing I've done is to put on the outer struts. These are held in with a little short struts that just glue into the wing, which I'll do on glue in after I've covered the wing. So there's little nuts and bolts. You don't want to be fiddling with those up the field, but I won't be dismantling mine, so it'll be done up tight. But there are other options. If you look at what Rob's done on his Model Geeks show, he's used pins with little quick release pins so as you can assemble it easily. Who knows, I might do that anyway. Interestingly, these struts, you know, I thought they were magnetic, but I think they're fibre, like fiberglass struts. Certainly not magnetic. Ouch, well, they are glass. Oh, there's one last thing I have to do. Just measure the cockpit for a pilot. Maybe 12.5 or 11, 12. Make it 12 centimetres high. 12 centimetres high or 10 centimetres wide. Make a note of that. Let's pull him back up to the ceiling, and that will do for this evening. Cheers, guys. Let me show you this, guys, before I cover it over. I've cut 4 hinge slots, and I'm just I'm using the Robart hinges, 4.5mm, and I'm going to have 4, and I've cut slots in the plywood as well. I'm just going to stick this ply on, 1mm ply, 0.5mm, something like that, and the slot's already cut, and I've already hinged the aeroplane, as you can see. So I'm just going to stick it all together. There you guys, I just thought I'd just show you my technique for fitting these little Robart hinges. Obviously I've got the little machine which will tell you, not obviously, but I've got the little thing that tells you where to drill the hole centered. That doesn't stop you drilling it off center slightly, but at an angle, but I can't get into the end one anyway. So, and I've rounded it already, so it slips off a bit, so that's not going to work. So what I've done is just to start off by putting a pin through the center line of the balsa, just in a bit to start it off, give it a little wiggle. Then I use a small drill just to drill down through as far as I can, as far as I want to. And then I've just got a little round rat tail file which I just run in and out, like this one here I've done already. Just working it in. You've got to chamfer the ends a little bit at an angle to take the angle of the shoulder, if you like, of the pin, and just keep working it, pushing it in, pulling it out, pushing it in until you're happy with the fit. Obviously you're trying to get it at 90 degrees and midway between the balsa. When I'm drilling the hole or filing it, I might hold it top and bottom, and you can feel through the, if it's getting close to the surface, you can feel it, so you can err away from it then. So far so good. I've hinged the rudder, which is above your head, and I've used these extra big hinges on those, 4 of those. quite a bit bigger than the elevator ones, but then it's got to support itself. I've done one tailplane or elevator already, and I shall then transfer the holes to the tailplane and put those in, because I put little extenders on the back. Worth doing if your hinge is sticking through. There's no point in it sticking through. You either cut it off or utilise the hinge for its maximum strength by putting a little block on the inside. That applies to any sort of hinge you're using. I used a spacer in there just to allow for the thickness of the covering. That spacer there, in fact, like that. And once I've got the hinges in and set in a position, then I'll sand the leading edge, because at the moment this side's further forward. It won't be that far forward when it's done. So let's have a look here. Looking good. Just all the holes line up. It's the important thing. Very important, actually. That's not too bad, guys. Feels pretty free. It's dropping under its own weight, which is quite substantial, actually. So I think 3 hinges is enough. Terrific. I'm happy with that. One down, one to go. So there it is from another angle. Oh, something's caught my eye. Spitfires. It seems to be a note on my Gwillow Spitfire. Nicholas Johns was here. Anyway, back to the build. So I've got the ailerons hinged now, and the elevators and rudder. I've just counted up, that's a total of 32 holes of it to make for the Robart hinges. So they do go awfully well, so that's a good job done. Can move on to the next job. Should be finishing off the sheeting for these wings, actually. I can take this centre wing off and get the sheeting done. Okay guys, I've borrowed an inclinometer. Borrowed an inclinometer from my mate Mike, club member, and if you remember, Rob at RC Model Geeks had quite a lot of positive incidents, and he reduced the front strut length by I think it was about 12 mil. Anyway, my readings on the inclinometer tell me that the bottom wing and the mid wing are neutral, and the top wing was quite a bit plus. It was still fly fine, but what's happening was that the wings were so far out that these holes weren't lining up for the struts. So I found that by pivoting the wing, which it does pivot, by pivoting the wing, the struts would line up. So it was a case of shortening the front struts. I took the front struts off and pivoted it about, and found that by rocking it back to about there, the struts line up. There they don't, but there they're pretty good. So what I've done, I've shortened the cabanes, front cabanes up here by 7 mil, and that dropped mine in just nice. So what I've got now is, if I move that back to there, pretty much it's moving it. Oh, it's a bit loose now. Anyway, it's pretty much zero, slightly negative if anything, which is preferable, I think, because I want the top wing to stall last, not first. So, as the ailerons are on it, so I'm happy with that. So I've reduced my strut lengths by 7 mil, and all seems to be pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Just gluing on the little blocks to fit the cowl. I estimate gluing them in about 1 millimetre from the edge looks about right, and I'm equispacing them, gluing them on with epoxy, equispacing them around the edge bottom ones are up a little bit because it curls in a little bit at the bottom, so I don't want to cook me chances of lining it up. What I'm doing, I'm putting them on with epoxy and then just a little bit of CA just on the top, just to make sure nothing moves while it's drying. Cunning, eh? We've got a club meeting coming up and I want to take it along, and so therefore I really got to get these bits sorted out. I want to take it with the cowl on, because I do. Just doesn't look like a Fokker Triplane without the cowl, does it? No clip. So I've been busy, guys. I've put some, I did stick in another block on the top there. So I've marked the positions for the screws, drilled through the cowling, put it on, drilled through the blocks, took it off, drilled a bigger hole through the cowling, and I've just had to tweak that block there a little bit. But this masking tape can come off now. Done something else as well. Made up the machine guns. Bit of fun. Just did leaving the backing paper on the foil, just to give it a little bit more stiffness, which I have done. But they'll sit on the top, look very smart. So let's crack on with this. I'm using these, I think these were the screws that they supplied, 18mm or something. The thing is, they're ugly. I mean, there's no getting away from that. A row of screws, but I'm hoping I can paint the heads in. And again, flying past it won't be too obvious, will it? Won't do them up tight just yet. There's a couple more things. Got a lot of sanding to do yet, of course. The undercarriage struts have these to go on. Fairings. The undercarriage wasn't that heavy on the original. It was quite lightweight. Certainly wasn't as heavy as that. Nowhere near. If anything, these look slightly too wide anyway. So, and it's the same with the cabanes. So what I'm going to do is to leave those as they are. And I've got a cunning plan. How I'm going to finish them. I'm not going to paint them. I might just not tell you just yet. It can be a surprise. So there it is. Cowling's on. I've got to work out the positioning of the machine guns, just how close they were, so I've got to look at a picture for that. Just off with the motor up, the engine I should say. Obviously a knack to this. There we go. They say glue it onto the motor mount, but as far forward as, oh, I think it will come forward a little bit actually, the motor mount, but the engine is way too far back, can't go back there, so it'll probably have to sit about there. Boy oh boy, that looks rather smart. Rather smart. So I mount the machine guns. It's got to be done. Let me go and work out where they need to go. I've just fitted up the tail skid. Very simple. I had to put some packing washers in there. I've got to pack it a little bit more actually. I'm not happy with that. It's too thin, but gets it on for the minute. So that's working nicely. I had to relieve the fiberglass bars slightly as well. They were really tight in the slot, so I sanded them a little bit. Time half-11, and I'm just going to have a quick go at assembling this start of the motor anyway. What I'm going to do, I'm going to glue it together with CA and beef up the joints with a white glue. What you're doing tonight then, guys? Am I the only one building this time of night? I don't know. There we go. So what I want to do is to put some white glue in there before I put those M10s on. Now, got these M9s that go in there. They say this has got to be glued to the actual sticky out motor mount piece, but I think Rob put his, I have to have another look, glued it right to the front, and I think Dan Durkee put his actually glued his to the cowling itself. I think I might put these in with white glue because I can't get in there. It's not that I build that fast, I don't build fast at all. I just put in the hours. Just takes a certain number of hours to build a model, and I put them in. Right, what's next? So that's the basic construction, and now I have to start the cylinders. There's loads of parts here, absolutely loads. I've got 4 M5s. I need M12s, M18s, 17, 18, 19 and 20. 18, God, look at all this lot. 15, 15. That's not just assembled them dry. Flush at the top, I think, sticking out at the bottom, because then they go into the little squares there. What I thought I might do is just assemble them and just flood them with CA. Easiest way. Yeah, they call that M12, but it's actually M5. Then I have to assemble all the little squares on the top, all these pieces. Fins, cooling fins. So I think I'm going to stick with plan A. That is just to flood CA here with the flush at the top. Measure like that. Next one done. I'll finish doing these guys and I'll come back to you. And what I've done, I've sorted out according to the instructions the order of running of these components. So I've just made one up, pretty good. Just going to carry on with the others. I start by putting the center ones in because they've got the lugs. Just go in those little holes there. Okay, one to go. See you in a minute. Okay, so that's all 4 made and just roughly sanded just to get any nodules off that I missed. Okay, all 4 go in there one at a time. 7, 8. One huge, well, I need the 4 cylinders out of the 9. It's a pretty impressive structure. It's about 370 parts on that. Oh dear. Okay, we'll stop there, guys, for tonight, and see you tomorrow. It's getting a bit late. It's 1:30 nearly, so there we are. It's how long's that taken me? A couple of hours. Cheers. There we go, guys. Little test fit in the car. It goes easily. Happy with that. Let's go and take a photo out on the lawn.